Are the Titans screwed long term right now?
I don't know if they're screwed long term, but I do think the idea of getting a ton of vets and paying them might not have been the best way to start your rebuild.
Well, actually, yeah, I want to clear it up. Actually, I feel like I'm miswording this. Let me say, are the Titans screwed over the next 3 to 4 years? Right? Maybe I should change it to short term. But are the Titans looking a bad few years in the face? Here is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what I'll change it.
Yes, it's going to depend on their decision with Will Levis at the end of the year. I was told by a Titans fan in our comments that Will Levis is the guy, that we should stop even asking the question.
Yeah. Oh no. I think we've seen a few of those.
Yeah.
So let me get into my points here, Hunter, because again, I have a lot of points prepared for the Titans. These actually might be
Go
the
ahead.
most bullet points I've had for any overreaction all year. I'm pretty sure they take the cake right now. So we're gonna get into the offense and defense after this, but we're gonna start with just my bullet points. So first bullet point here, Hunter, that I think we really need to address, because again, yeah, I think we're all very much on the same page. Again, and you again, very similar to what I've said about all rookie quarterbacks at this point. Is this an indictment on his 100% future? No, not right now. It's not. But Will Levis is also different than a lot of these other first round quarterbacks, as we already knew. That actually, this already is
Well, he
objectively
was a
true. Will
second
Levis,
round
right?
technically.
Like Will Levis to me was never a first round talent, and again, it's a whole other can of worms. But look, Will Levis is not looking like the guy for the Titans long term, right? And not only from a playing perspective, but we have to consider that the confidence has to be in question at this point. The relationship with the coaching staff is already noticeably rocky. These are all things that we've already had taken note of objectively with Callahan and the pressers, right? Number two, J.C. Latham playing the best ball in the entire O line as a rookie. Everyone else is not holding their
Skronsky
weight.
is concerning right now.
Oh, it's really concerning, because I would say right now he was really almost encouraging towards the end of the year last year, but we're right back to like literally square one as far as the
But here's
beginning of
my
his rookie
thing.
year.
I think a lot of people are like, yeah, he might be all right at tackle, but he'll be a great guard. And he just hasn't he has not been that great of a guard.
No, unfortunately, he's been a bottom 3/4 guard if we're talking in terms of percentile. Look, but again, it's not even just Skronsky. I mean, when I tell you that everyone else is not holding the weight, I mean everybody. And again, second best in this line by far right now is Dylan Raduns, but Dylan Raduns is still grading as a barely top half, barely. I mean, literally like 49 percentile in terms of the guards in the league. So then again, we already talked about Skronsky. Lloyd Cushenberry, you gave a lot of money to, at least if it's relative to the cap in his position group. Lloyd Cushenberry is a bottom 75% center so far this year. And then we already knew last year, unfortunately, he had a really bad year. He's playing better than he played last year, but Nicholas Petit Freer is not playing good ball in the slightest, and he's collapsing the right side. Right, that right side, it's getting collapsed because of him. And then, but look, I'm including him on the O line because hand up. I'm always hand up. He was one of my guys. I thought he was gonna make a big jump. He hasn't. He's actually made a big regression. Chiga Kwankwo, ever since his rookie year, is kind of just not only not made a jump, but it's getting like worse every year from a blocking perspective. Yeah, he gets open here and now, and he's got some big playability in terms of the catch radius and whatnot. But it's like, as far as being a good tight end and especially for how the Titans want to play, he's not the guy on this offense, and he's not holding his weight right now at all. You know, and so that's just the O line. Let's move on to the next bullet point. And we've already kind of touched on this over the years. Not over the years, but over the months leading up to this year. But look, money at this point spent, I don't mean call it for what it is, Hunter, seemingly wasted. I mean, Sneed, man, the tackling, even in coverage, it's real rough this year. Jeffrey Simmons got
You also traded a pick for him.
well, that on top of it, and we always talk about how it's a draft capital league. It's like undercover; nobody ever thinks about it, but it's a draft capital driven league. Jeffrey Simmons, right? Jeffrey Simmons. I always have faith in Jeffrey Simmons. I always think Jeffrey Simmons is an above average, good player. But he's been a great player in the past. Let it be crystal clear, Titans fan. But this year, Jeffrey Simmons is he's just playing. He's playing ball out there. Like Jeffrey Simmons is not exploding off the ball like he used to. He's not blowing up the gaps like he used to. He does here now, but from a consistency perspective, Jeffrey Simmons is not playing anywhere near that Jeffrey Simmons that we saw about 2 years ago. Right, Harold Landry playing average ball off that. He's not playing like Harold Landry we saw last year, the year before. Harold Landry right now is playing again. We're only a few weeks in. This is all subject to change, but after 3 weeks, I got to start getting a little bit concerned. 2 weeks is one thing. 3 weeks, I'm saying, all right, man, like, you're not exploding off the ball like you were before. I got to be a bit concerned. Now let's move over to where it really matters, because the defense is far from being the concern of this team, as we know. Right? The defense is, albeit that it's not full of world beaters, the defense is holding their weight for what it's worth, and we'll get into that later. But on offense, man, oh man, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley. Back to the defense one more time. I got a little over here. Kenneth Murray, too. Remember, they give a little solid chunk of cap to Kenneth Murray a couple years ago.
Kenneth Murray.
And then to Tony Pollard. We're already scratching our head. If you were watching any Titans ball last year and you were like, oh, yeah, this guy, Tajay Spears, like, oh, and if you knew anything about him at Tulane and you were watching him at Tulane, you were like, oh, yeah, Tajay Spears, man, like, why would Tajay Spears not be RB1? Like, he clearly showed he has the explosive ability, the right tackle ability, gap reading ability. To me, it was pretty clear that let me just be clear, if I'm the head coach, I'm saying, yeah, you're my guy going forward. Like, I don't need to pay someone else, especially on top of the fact that we have so many holes on this roster. We're going to give money to Tony Pollard. That was a decision that they made. I mean, that's how I feel about paying running backs. Circa Miles Sanders. Anyways, though, we've been on that train for years. But the bottom line is here, Hunter, right? A majority of this team offensively will have to be completely rebuilt. And then defensively, on top of that, you just have key players that are aging. That's what I want to say about the defense. You got key guys that are aging, and not that they're getting super old, but just maybe where you're like, all right, well, they're not going to get a second contract or a third contract. And we have to start really figuring out that on top of that, retied together, our window doesn't look good right now. A lot of guys are going to be out the door. You got to get a lot of new guys in the door, and that's a big problem in of itself. And then, look, just earlier reported today, Chidobe Awuzie is a candidate for IR with the groin injury. And then, I mean, again, on top of the problems they're already having over there. But look, and then we'll move into the offense next. Again, because the offense is dismal.
If you want to look at it, your top three receivers are 30, and 32.
Well, again, we were on about this. You said if the Titans were good, it was going to make sense. But if they weren't, man, oh man, you can go back to those preseason evaluations. Like, man, oh man,
if they were good, it would make sense, and if they were bad, it even made more sense. Because this is something where it's like, if it worked, props to you. But if it didn't work, it was like, okay, are you just trying to go get the names? Like, do you want the name recognition guys like Calvin Ridley? Obviously, D-Hop was there. You have Tyler Boyd, who, whatever. But bringing in Jamal Adams, bringing in Quandre Diggs, getting L'Jarius Sneed, like, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know.
Well, again, so we haven't even gotten into the offensive statistics yet here, Hunter. Let's get into the offensive statistics real quick so we can really point out the glaring problems with this team right now. We're looking at 260.3 yards per game, fourth lowest in the league. We're looking at a minus 0.33 EPA per play, lowest in the league. We are looking at 159.3 passing yards per game, fifth lowest in the league. We're looking at an EPA per pass of minus 0.50, lowest in the league. 101 rushing yards per game, which sounds good, but in today's NFL, that's actually 20th in the league, because we're going back to how teams are running the ball way more, running more efficiently in these cover 2-4-6 shell. Anyways,
Harbaugh came in at just the right time.
Harbaugh was ahead of the game. Harbaugh was crystal ball a couple years ago, but 55 QB pressures allowed. Second highest in the league, 47% QB pressure rate allowed, surpassing the Patriots as the highest in the league. We'll move over to the defense real quick, because I wanted to close out on a positive note. Again, for the personnel that they have, they're making it work. 28 QB pressures allowed, seventh lowest in the league, 30.8% QB pressure rate, 20th in the league. Again, but if we're talking about a problem, it's that, you know what? They're not getting pressure, but I only talked about the bad things. All the other things on defense are actually relatively good, right? Like the pass defense has been really good this year. It is what it is. And then 124.3 rushing yards per game allowed, which is 19th in the league, right? It's actually not that bad. What I'm trying to say here is I want to close out positively, because there's really not even a ton of problems with the Titans defense. Like, the problems are that the guys that you paid aren't living up to what you paid them, but The good thing is that a lot of other guys are still holding their weight, and the defense is far from the problem with this team, right? Like that is the reality. But again, back to the window and how a lot of guys are going to be out the door soon. The guys that are doing good now, how long are they going to be here? How long is that even going to matter? Because you have to rebuild the entire offense. And I'm going to let you take it from here, Hunter, because I definitely stole the floor for a while with all these points. I want to know what you're thinking here going forward.
Yeah, I guess my main thing is like if you want to look at the Titans just from a, to go off what you were saying, like did you go off, I'm sorry if I missed it, but how many points they've allowed compared to points scored?
No, I did not discuss
So
that. I did not discuss that
yeah.
specific
So
point.
the Titans are right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the seventh lowest scoring offense in the league, and the 1, 2, 3, 6 most scored against defense in the league. So currently in point differential, yeah, they're bottom four, and we know that just screams that point differential tells a story of your team. Now you may have a good offense, you may have a good defense, but if you're sitting at the bottom of the league in point differential, that means nothing's working for the most part. Because, or that the complementary football, either nothing's working or there's no complementary football on your team. Like, that's the reality of point differential. And I think there was this optimism that Brian Callahan coming over from the Bengals, that they'd be able to, they got the 3 receivers, just like Cincinnati had. They got the young QB with an arm, just like Cincinnati had. They bring in Callahan's dad to fix the O-line. O-line's not fixed. There was a lot of optimism around this Titans team, and so far it has not materialized. And that, I think, is frustrating, especially when you have a team that is full of a lot of veterans, right? Like, yes, Latham is young. Yes, Skronsky is young. Yes, Levis is young. Sweat is young. But overall, the starters are not overwhelmingly young. They're not youthful.
And I think we could say, funny enough, Sweat's probably playing the best of any defender on this team.
Right. So I guess I'm going to look up NFL teams by age just to kind of see where they fall. But do you have any last thoughts on this before we wrap it up?
No, honestly, I think we covered all the bases. I think I had a lot of the points prepared were kind of just really to hammer home the reality of the situation, because as of right now, there's really not much discussion on it, Hunter. The discussion is kind of, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Like, you watch the first 3 weeks of Titan football, it is what it is. And the problem with that is, though, as far as the optimism goes, to your point, well, a lot of the things we were optimistic about are very clearly we're already out the window as far as those things go. So the question really is, from here, we already know this year's almost basically a wash, right? Like, where do you go from here? There's a lot of questions to be answered over the next couple of years, and there's a lot of pressure on Carthon's shoulders. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. So right now, the Titans are kind of middle of the pack. They're like 19th in terms of I'm trying to think how to word this. Like, they're 19th, right? They're the 19th oldest team. Yeah, so 19th oldest team. So not bad, but there's a lot of money invested in some older players, which I guess makes sense if you want to think about it, because in reality, like, the young players are still going to be on rookie deals. Like, that makes sense.
But the older guys that aren't producing, which
right,
is where
that's
the caveat becomes a problem.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think out of all the buy and sells today, outside of the Anthony Richardson situation, like, this is the one I would be most concerned about if I'm a Titans fan, because there was a lot of money invested this offseason.
No, well, again, 100%. I mean, I think, look, Titans fans, yeah, we're sorry we had to call it out, but I think, if you're being objective, let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let us know what you think in the comments. Where do you guys go from here? We need to know what Titans fans are thinking.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball, want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let us know in the comments if you think the Titans are screwed long term. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy Monday Night Football. I don't know if this video is going to come out Monday or Tuesday, but if you already watched it, I hope you enjoyed it or do enjoy it. We got 2 games tonight. Kind of weird. I hate when the NFL does that. So,
yeah.
Dobbs, what? Just last couple words. Like, you I hate when they do two games on Monday night because it's like Monday night I like to watch and really focus on teams that I may not be able to watch all at once. And when they do two games, it's hard to do that.
No, 100%. I think, and even like to the point of, there's a lot of things that I think, like you're saying, there's two teams that I really want to specifically focus on that are going to be playing this week, which is the Bengals and the Jaguars. Two teams that we're saying have got to really, right? They got to
Right.
figure out they got to make big jumps. Well, now I can't watch. I can, but you can't really watch both of them at the same
Focus, yeah.
time. It's like trying to watch Red Zone and the Saints at the same time. I'm always like, I'm watching Red Zone, but I'm locked in on the Saints
They
90% of
should
the time,
just do a
right?
super late game and a super early game if they're going to do that. Like separate them, not like some
Yeah.
15, 30-minute buffer.
No, like 100%, especially when you're going to have the whole week to recover. And like, why? I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like one of them's already going to, yeah. I mean, the opposite, actually. Let me take it back. Where you have less time to recover, let's let one of them at least get ahead of the game
Right.
where they're going to have a little bit. You get 8 more hours to recover than you would have. Hey, every hour counts. Every hour of recovery counts. So I think we're ahead of the game here. And we got to give Goodell a call and let him know. Yeah, we need a 3 o'clock game here, Roger. What are we doing?